Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirit. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you for tuning in as we're going to have an action-packed show this week because we're going to be diving deep with the subject matter of a spiritual lifestyle. Also in this week's show, we have the channeling from the world of spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel for spirit to bring their wisdoms and communications through. And then later on in the show, we have this week's forecast reading, which will hopefully help you navigate your way through the twists and turns of this week ahead. So as we say, we're going to be discussing today a spiritual lifestyle. So let's dive deep with this one. Basically, and I'm not having a go at anybody for thinking this, because at one time I perceived this way. And this is when people work with spirit, it is perceived that they just turn that on, do the job, and then they go back to the normal life. And I want to say to you that this is not the case. Basically, when you're working with spirit, it's not just something that you do. It's a committed life choice because you have to make substantial shifts and changes in your life to accommodate and to align with your soul path and your soul purpose. And I'm going to go through some of those things in this discussion today. So one of the hardest lessons and things that you have to go through in order to live a spiritual lifestyle is unlearning all you've ever known. Now, this can be very traumatic, it can be frustrating, and basically, as most of you may or may not know, that from childhood we've all had some form of conditioning enforced upon us, and we've accepted that information as the gospel truth, and that's the way things are done. Also, we've had this many facets of our life where this has occurred, such as schooling, parenthood, working environment, the community. You know, the list can go on. We've all received a level of social conditioning. So when you live a spiritual lifestyle, you have to dive deep and you have to feel into situations. You have to feel in to the information that you've been told or taught or educated. And you have to feel into the truth vibrations. And sometimes when you feel into those truth vibrations, some of the things, like I say, that you've obtained over the years, knowledge, information, will start to feel untrue to you. You'll feel the essence of, the authenticity in that information. And there'll be a lot of it that you'll be sifting through, and it will come to the surface, and it'll be quite a shock to you that it's not actually true. You don't have to behave like that. You don't have to think that way. You do not have to do that. You are not restricted. And when you come to that realization, it can be traumatic, it can be frustrating, and you feel as though you've wasted a vast portion of your life there, holding on to those belief systems and that information. So you can get quite agitated with yourself for actually believing that, but you was in a different space in your mind, in your vibration then. So don't be hard on yourself. I always see that a lot of this information has actually served us in some way, shape or form, because without having that, we wouldn't have got to this point in our life where we happen to be, where we make this realization, where we shift frequencies and we make this understanding and we tap into the truth vibrations. So again, when you come to that juncture in your life, it can be a massive change for you. So be easy, be gentle on yourself, take one step at a time and move your way through it rather than ignoring it, pushing it to one side and, keeping calm and carrying on. And that's very courageous in one respect. But on the other hand, there'll be a stage in your life where you will have to face these truths. And why wait? Why not do it now? Why not work your way through it now? That's what I say. The next thing I would say is building trust bonds with your spirit team. When you're going through a spiritual awakening and you're accepting your spiritual lifestyle, part of this process is gaining trust with your spirit team. And this is a two-way street. They have got to gain your trust as well. So with doing this, I would say daily communications with them, even if it's for a brief 5 minutes each day. By having conversations like you would with anybody in the physical world, you'd get to know them, you get to know their quirks, their likes, their dislikes, their belief systems, their background, their lifestyles, and how they became to be in contact with you, and all of that information. And when you have that, again, you feel into it and you feel the truth vibrations in that situation, because that will also instill that level of trust, and you'll be able to feel safe with your spirit team. Now, you can implement various checks and tests along the way with your spiritual team in order to establish that it is them that you're talking to and connecting with. And I call this an energy signature, an energy marker. And it's a bit like a security check, like you would have on a credit card or something like that. Or if you're buying something online, there'd be security checks. So for me, the baseline check, for me, the marker between you and your spirit guide is like a security check. It's unique between you and them. And then that will instill that level of trust, because you will know it is them that is coming forward. I have specific tells, if you like, to look into when my guide blends his energy with me, and I know it's him, definitely. So building that trust bond with your team is part of it. And as you know, when you're building trust with anything or anyone, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a two-way street, and it doesn't happen overnight. So take your time with this one and just, enjoy each step of the way. Also, in order to embrace a spiritual lifestyle, you have to have discipline, and you have to have procedures that work for the greatest good. What do I mean by discipline? I mean having some sort of system in place where you honor your sacred sensitivity and your connection to spirit. One of those things that I like to do is meditation, and also setting intentions before I go into that. So setting intentions is basically letting or requesting spirit how you would like to work with them, for what specific jobs or roles you're working with them on. And also the meditation is to calm the mind, body, and spirit, align all of those elements together, and be in a state of receiving mode where you're kind of switching your mind off, and you're not trying to control the situation. You're just being here now, and you're allowing that influence from spirit, that guidance, that insight to be filtered through you, and you're just there in an observational role, experiencing all of this information. And it's quite relaxing, it's calming, it slows you down, and it gets you into that bliss state. So this is part of the discipline that I implement. As I've kind of said on many other episodes previous to this one, protection as well. I also put a form of energetic protection around myself for good reason. One, because being sensitive, being connected to energies and detecting energies and spirit, that you have to have some sort of protection in place, because you don't want to be taking back any hanger-ons, any spirit tourists that want to follow you home. So you've got to have something like that in place. And of course, procedures, this is part of the procedure that I do before I work as well. And another procedure is keeping well hydrated, something that's not mentioned enough of. For me, it's mineral water. And I drink loads and loads of the stuff whilst I'm working with spirit. I find that the energy within the water replenishes the energy and helps the connection. Also, it clears you as a vessel. It keeps you nice and topped up and clear. And also, obviously, it hydrates you, because when you're working with spirit, they get very excited and they like to communicate and speak through you for long periods of time. So you need to make sure that you're lubricated in that sense. So this is part of the procedures that you will have to start and embody. I want to say as well, nurturing your soul. And what do I mean by that? Not following the herd, so to speak, not doing what everybody else is doing, going within, feeling into a situation, and knowing that what feels right to you is the right plan of action for you to take, and just having that level of trust when you move into that. Also, when you do connect with your higher self, your soul, you will also embody a need to look after the physical vessel, your body, basically, because it is holding your soul. It is the vessel that's going to keep you in this dimension so that you can experience all the lessons, all the wisdom, and experience this dimension on planet Earth. So we want to keep it tip-top form, don't we? So you'll get this inclination to either do some form of physical exercise, whatever form that comes in. You may feel the urge to go out on daily walks, or go to the gym, go swimming, do yoga, do Pilates, go cycling, go running, whatever it may be. You will start and feel that inclination to look after the physical vessel. And this will be something that you'll implement into your life, and it will become, I would say, part of your lifestyle. It will be up there with brushing your teeth or combing your hair. It'll be something that you just naturally do, and you don't think anything of it other than that this is what I do. And so also you'll be aware of nurturing your mental health. And as we know, we do need to keep an eye out on our mental health, because it's so easy with all of the distractions that are placed in front of us and around us in today's modern society, that our opinions, our mindset can be swayed and can be manipulated to such a point where we go into self-destruct mode. So I would say it's good practice to observe your mind as a third party, so that you're not connected to the thoughts that you're observing. And by having this level of observation, you'll be able to sift through the wheat and the chaff, so to speak. What is good information? What is your information? What is information that you're picking up on from your society or people around you? Where you're getting the influences from? Could it be social media? Could it be advertising? And being that third party, observing the mind as it is processing this information, because as I've said many times before, we are all transmitters and receivers of information. So with this being the case, not everything that our mind picks up on, just because it's in our mind, doesn't necessarily mean that it's ours. We've created it. We have the ownership of it. Not necessarily the case. You could be picking up on energy, as I say, from the people around you, or social media, or, advertising. It could bury itself into your mind, in your either subconscious mind. So being this third party will enable you to sift through the information and to analyze what deserves space in your head and what doesn't. And then you have that choice to either focus on that information or simply ignore it, let it go. Don't let it have any headspace there. I would like to use the analogy of having a mobile phone. Most mobile phones have inner storage, and they have a limited amount of storage. And sometimes you have to sift through that phone in order to look through the information and say, well, is this a priority? Do I still need this on my phone? What is this? Is this adding value to the phone and how I use the phone? And so you make that decision to delete it. Or in some cases, send it off to the cloud, which is another conversation in itself. And this, we may as well go there. So what I experience is forgetfulness a lot of the time. And I've asked my guides about this, what's going on with this? This only happened, the other day, and I can't remember what went off and what happened. And my guides say, you don't need to, Glenn. You don't need to. You had the experience. That information, if you were to hold on to it, whether emotionally, mentally, physically, would hold your vibration down. It would make you be blocked so that you're not a clear vessel to give and receive information. So they said, don't worry, that information is still in existence, but it's in the cloud. It's not in your physical vibration or your mental capacity there. And I would say, what do you mean by it being in the cloud? They said that information is there for you to tap into whenever you need it. That resource will be there for you, but it's just not in your physical and energetic vessel as you experience it. Because, as we say, this would clog you up, slow you down, and maybe limit the connection that you have with spirit and the work that you do. So upon exploring that conversation with my guides, I was, pretty amazed by that. And I thought, well, okay, that makes a lot of sense why I forget a lot of things. So anyway, you will be in that... you'll be in that capacity when you're that third party observing the thoughts. Also the spiritual as well, nurturing the soul and the spiritual aspect of yourself. Is it kind? Does it align? Does it feel good? Is it making me feel bad and restricted and small? You have those sort of observations and inner conversations with yourself. And obviously you have the choice to go either way, whichever you feel compelled to do in that moment in space. So it's not necessarily for me to tell you what to do. You have got to make that decision yourself. But if you just observe those sensations, those connections, that will help you make a more positive decision, shall we say, that will serve you in the long run. So let's talk about making sacrifices. Now, as I said earlier, a spiritual lifestyle, it's if you're a sensitive or you're a spiritual medium and you work with spirit, a lot of people assume that you just turn it on, turn it off, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you switch off, and that's your day done. It's not the case. It is there all the time. It is a lifestyle. It's not just something that you do. So you will, to enable you to work at your best and to, live your highest vibration, you will have to make some sacrifices along the way to live and tread in these footsteps, so to speak. One of these things is social interactions, friendship circles, family members, maybe relationships. And with me saying about nurturing your soul and yourself, it kind of ties into that because you will start to get, I would say, vibrational alignment. So the people that are meant to vibrationally be in your life will be in your life. And those that aren't will naturally move away from you. And this is simply because of vibration either aligning or repelling one another. So there will be some of your social circle that won't align with you anymore when you tread this pathway of living a spiritual lifestyle. And what you may notice is your vibration, and I'm not saying this to sound arrogant or, better than anybody else, not at all. Anybody that knows me will know that I'm not egotistical. I'm very much spirit and soul led, and I'm all about kindness. And how may I serve? So I just thought I would say that before I go into this part of the conversation. And this is where your vibration will start and trigger other people in and around you. And what I mean by this is because you look after yourself, mind, body, and spirit, and you talk to people that perhaps have made different choices in their life, and that is fine. I'm not having a go at anybody for that reason. But what you will find is your vibration is a high vibration, and it is naturally it brings anything that isn't of that vibration. It brings all of that old stuff up to the surface. So, for example, if somebody's going through maybe a bit of trauma, or they're going through understanding who they are, and they've got old facets of themselves running in the background that they were unaware that was there. Well, when these people are in your presence, your vibration will pull those elements from that hidden side of themselves in the subconscious mind and pull that up to the surface. So it is very much on display and obvious to that individual that, hang on a minute, why do I feel like this? I feel agitated, I feel irritable. Why am I thinking about that situation in my life from 10 years ago? I've forgotten all about that. I don't like the feeling of that. And so a lot of these people will experience all of these old systems coming up to the surface because your vibration is wanting to heal them, is wanting to help them. And part of that process, as we've said earlier, is letting go of those old belief systems, those old energies that no longer serve you anymore. We also said that, a lot of people, and I'm not having a go, will bury those situations, those emotions, those experiences deep within themselves, but your vibration will extract them up to the surface. And so those individuals, when they're in your company, they will notice that they always get these sensations, these emotions when they're around you, and it makes them feel uncomfortable and they don't like it. So the first thing that they will do is they will put 2 and 2 together and come up with 16, and they will blame you for it, saying, well, it doesn't happen when I'm around anybody else, so it must be you. So I'm not going to hang around with you anymore because I feel very uncomfortable with all of these energies and all of these emotions. And that is fine. You just have to let people be who they are, allow them to go on their own path and to do their own work there. And I'm not having a go at anybody because, I've been on both ends of that situation, so I know what it feels like either end. But it is a journey, isn't it? Life is a journey, and we've just got to step aside and we've got to let people be who they are and let them experience who they're evolving into as well. So you may notice that by making some of these sacrifices, you may notice that your friendship circles may start to diminish. And again, this is not anything that you're consciously doing or the other parties, is simply energy aligning, and you're aligning with your truest essence and vibration. But you'll also make sacrifices with the food that you consume and the drink that you consume. And you may be having various different choices in your food and drinks because simply your body cannot tolerate it anymore. It makes you feel physically ill. It pulls your energy down. It zaps your strength. And because you're living this spiritual lifestyle, you'll be more aware of it. And in doing so, you have that choice in any one given moment. Okay, well, I feel horrible when I eat this food and it makes me feel lethargic and tired, but I like the food. I love the taste of it. So in any one given moment, you have that choice to either take that out of your diet or continue consuming it. But just beware of the consequences because it will trigger you. This could also go in alignment with alcohol. And again, everybody's entitled to make their own choice on that. But for me personally, I was finding I wasn't a big drinker. I was more of a social drinker where I just have 1 or 2. And I was a fan of the ales back in the day. The different flavors and the effort and the love and the passion that went into making these ales. Very bespoke flavors. So I enjoyed the flavors. But it got to a point where I just have 1 drink, 1 ale, and I couldn't keep it down. My body rejected it and it would come out either end. And so I just reached a point and I thought, you know what, it is not worth going through all of that trauma every time that I want to be social and try one of these ales. So I made a conscious decision at that point that, okay, I get the hint. I'm not meant to be having alcohol in the system. And so, again, I made that sacrifice. I made that choice. And I took that out of my diet, so to speak. And you know what? For me, it's worked out really well. I've got that clarity from doing that. I can work at a higher level with spirit, and also I'm not in recovery mode all the time, because I used to find that, even after one beer, the day after, I couldn't eat correctly. I was on the toilet lots, and I was just wasting time doing all of this recovery mode. So it's given me some time back and energy back. But also making sacrifices, commitment is part of that. When you commit to work with spirit, you're kind of on call 24/7. Obviously, they respect your time, and you have to, implement that with them when you have the conversations, when you connect with spirit, and they will honor that to a degree. But, they do want commitment from you. It's a team effort after all, and being a team member working with spirit, you have to honor their time, their energy, their vibration, the effort that they make to come in and communicate and deliver that information, that healing as well. And so you have to be there to work when you agree to work with one another, and they expect 100%, you expect 100% from them. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword, so to speak. But also, standing in your own power, this is also making sacrifices, because some of the belief systems that you will have, that you've formed, that you've arrived at, that you've established, won't necessarily resonate with everybody. And people may be looking at you funny and feeling, again, rather funny. You just got to let them have that thought, let them have that vibration, but don't let it dilute your vibration. If it feels right to you, stand true in your essence, in your power. Stay resilient to all of, shall we say, the naysayers, the comments, the ridicule, because you are going to experience some sort of level of all of those things I've just described. So you will have to have a thicker skin. You can't be triggered when somebody comments about, the way that you speak or the way that you're a little bit out there. Let them have that opinion. It's their opinion. And when you realize that it's theirs, not yours, so who does that opinion belong to? It belongs to them. So it won't have an impact on you, and you will go about your business continually spreading that light and that love and living in vibrational alignment with your higher soul path. So, also, I would say you will notice your sensitivity increasing, making all of these sacrifices, living this spiritual lifestyle. And what is, I would say, a plus side to this is that rather than scratching the surface area of a situation, what somebody said to you, what they've shown you, you can dive a little bit deeper, because you can feel into the situation. Feel in. Remember what we said earlier about the information that you've been holding and what you've been taught the majority of your life, and you had to unlearn that information. It's a similar technique. You'll feel into the situation, what you're being told, what you're being shown, and you'll be able to find additional clarity once you do that. In other words, you will notice if it is BS, and you'll notice when you're being served up a plate of BS, so to speak. And this can be quite entertaining for you as a sensitive being, because you don't necessarily have to call BS on somebody when you know that they're speaking it. You can let them carry on. And as you let them carry on, you'll notice that they'll start to tie themselves up in knots. And they'll give their own game away without you even calling them out on it. But you'll have a feeling, because you'll feel into the vibration of the information that they're sharing with you. So your sensitivity can serve you, and it can, keep you in alignment with your higher self there. And anything that would be maybe perceived as a distraction, such as BS, and I've tidied that up, obviously, but you hopefully know where I'm coming from by using that term, then it will keep you focused on your pathway as well. Also, living a spiritual lifestyle, your observations will change. You'll start to read a different language. Obviously, people talk about reading English, writing in English, and whatever language that you speak. That's the obvious one. But I would say symbolism is a language upon itself, and it can have so many hidden depths and meanings. So you'll have these observations of symbolisms. And again, you'll feel into the symbolisms that you're being shown or that you're observing on your day-to-day existence. And let's face it, let's just dive into symbolisms. If Spirit wants to convey a message to you, they're going to use the path of least resistance. So if they was to talk to you for maybe half an hour to get a piece of information to you, that would take a lot of their energy, take a lot of your energy, and a lot of the time, you won't remember half of the information that they've shared with you in that moment. Whereas if they can maybe show you a symbol, maybe in your third eye, or place it literally, physically in front of you when you're doing your daily duties, then that symbol alone, when you inspect it, when you dive a little bit deeper with that symbolism, you can extract all of that information that doesn't require them to speak to you for half an hour. You've got to do the work. You've got to inspect that symbolism. I always give this as an example to my students. If I was shown a dog in my mind's eye, for example, I'd say, oh, there's a dog there. Oh, this is a border collie breed of dog, and it's looking very happy. So you can see already I'm pulling apart that symbolism. It's a dog, it's a border collie, it's looking very happy. There's 3 elements to that message right there. The dog has 4 legs, number 4. The dog is also referred to as a K9. So we've got the letter K, we've got the number 9, so there's messages there. So you can see how symbolism and how Spirit use symbolism to convey their messages is more efficient for them and us. But we have to learn this, shall we call it a sacred language of symbolism in order to extract and decode that information. But your observations will be on point. You'll notice these symbols, and it is up to you how you decipher them. But when you do, it will open up a new world to you of information, and you'll be so pleased. So understand the signs. Obviously, music is often one where Spirit convey messages to you in the lyrics or the sound or the frequency or the tone. So watch out for those earworms, as people call them, where you have that song in your head on loop all day long. That is potentially a message to you. So you'll notice more of those things. Numbers as well, angel numbers, you'll spot more of those. Animal totems, if you see an animal, you won't just say, oh, I saw a magpie today. No, you'll go a little bit deeper and understand the nature of that bird and what its habits are and what its message is to you. And there's various websites where you can get that information as well to top you up if you are struggling with animal totems symbolism. So there's plenty of help out there, but you'll notice them more. That's my point in saying this. Also, living a spiritual lifestyle, it will be part of your spiritual practice to balance your energy. How much are you giving? How much are you receiving? Now, this can go in either a work situation, it can go in family, it can go in your hobbies, your interests, whatever part of your life that you feel you need to be working on and getting that balance right. Sometimes, a lot of the time, a lot of us work really, really hard, and maybe part of that balancing act is just to release that grip slightly and have more fun, have more laughter, have more adventure, and get that back into our lives. And this is what life is all about, to get that balance. Also, grounding will be part of your spiritual practice, because you will be connecting with higher vibrations, higher beings, different energies around you, and you will feel very much, I would say, in a bit of a dream world, a bit of a dreamland at time to times, and everything will feel a little bit wishy-washy. And so grounding your energy will actually anchor your energy back in your physical body, back into this dimension on the earth plane, so that you can interact on a daily basis and you can blend and work in both of those worlds, but you will have to be, again, being aware of when you do need to anchor and ground your energy to be more present. And also releasement as well will be part of the process of your spiritual lifestyle. We mentioned this earlier. Again, there will be elements within your life, or people, friends, or even objects or situations in your life that you will actually read into on a vibrational level, and it will not align with you anymore. So what do you do when you arrive at that destination? You've got two choices. I either carry on, regardless, doing the same thing, even though I know it doesn't align with me anymore, makes me feel uncomfortable, or I can make a new choice, a new decision, and choose something better. But to enable me to receive that something better, I've got to let this old thing, this experience, this object, whatever it happens to be, I have to let it go. And the way that you do that is you don't give it your time and attention anymore. And instead, you're more open then of receiving the new that's coming into your life. So be aware of that. Talking about being open to inspirations. Inspiration can happen anywhere. It can come from spirit directly. You may see something when you're out and about, and it triggers the inspiration within you to have an inspired thought that maybe you may have an invention or an easier way of doing things, or helping you out in your life, or maybe creating a product or something like that. But you will notice that doing all the things that I've described to you, that you'll be more open and less judgmental about the inspiration that hits you. And also with this, there's a vast amount of courage that is required in order to bring that inspiration into form. So having that courage to step forward, to trust the inspiration you've been given, and make the necessary changes and steps in your life to bring either that idea into form. It could be something working on a computer, maybe creating a form of software or some music or something. It's following through with that inspiration and bringing it into form. That is such a magical experience. And I'm sure many of you that are listening have encountered that yourselves. And it's almost as if you're like giving birth to something into this dimension. And there's a beautiful feeling of accomplishment once you've arrived at that destination. And my final piece to this conversation today is I'm going to ask you this question, and I'd like you to ask this question to yourself. Bearing in mind everything that I've spoke about in this episode today, some of the things will trigger you. Some of the things will feel like hard work to you. But my question to you all today is, are you ready to commit? Have a think about that. And if you're wanting to live a spiritual life, then some of these things I've spoken about today are things that you're going to have to face in order to be in alignment with the best version of yourself. We're now going to move into the next segment of the show, which is this week's Channeling from Spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel for Spirit to bring their wisdoms and communications through. But slightly ahead of that, I'd like to check in with you and see how you're doing and how your week's been, and what have you been up to? Have you noticed any vibrational alignments, your energy shifting and heightening? I know I certainly have, because recently I've just done a paranormal event in Wiltshire, and the spirit connections were absolutely off the charts. We could not believe it, honestly, the information, the evidence that came through. And so that has been fantastic. And to top it all off on that weekend, I was gifted some tickets by my daughters to go and see Iron Maiden. And any of you that know me know that I'm a rock and metal fan, and I always have been. But this is the band that I've never, ever seen. And so my daughters knew this, and they took it upon themselves to make a surprise and do that for me. And having gone to the concert and experienced Iron Maiden for the first time, wow. That's all I will say. There was a massive shift in my vibration. Very emotional, hearing all of their, big hitters, big songs that they've done all over the years, And then the production of the stage show and everything was just so off the charts. It was mind-boggling. And it was upon the day after the concert, that I was still kind of pinching myself thinking, am I actually here? Did I actually just see Iron Maiden a few days, yesterday? It was something else, honestly. It just transported me off to another level there. So I thought I'd share that with you. Anyway, like I say, we're going to move into the next segment of the show now, which is this week's channeling from the world of spirit. So please sit back, relax, feel into this vibration and take notes if you wish, and enjoy this week's channeling from the world of spirit.
This is the Galactic Council. We have come forward as we are a collective of minds, of souls, and individuals coming together in order to bring this communication forward. We have great wisdom to share with you, and this is the start of that process. We want to discuss with you your true essence, your true authenticity, and the power that you have within your hearts and your souls. A lot of you have experienced this power before, and indeed it has frightened you to the degree that you have pushed it back and you have not acknowledged it. This power will help you to align with what you desire. This power helps to magnetize your existence and create a clear pathway for you. This power will also help you to heighten your vibration and work with the nature in and around your environment. We understand that we're keeping this very vague in this communication, and this is because if in the wrong hands, the detail of the information we truly wish to share with you can be abused. So with the words that we're sharing with you today, we ask you that you sit in contemplation and feel the vibration codes within these words, for it is these vibrational codes that will install the detailed information we wish to share with you. And this information will be implanted in your DNA. You will get images in your mind and sensations and urges in order to complete and expand your awareness. So just listen to the tone of the voice and feel into this message, for that is the true essence of our coming forward today. This energy we speak of will lift you beyond your limited mind and emotions. Also, this experience of embracing this energy and allowing it to be installed within you gives you a higher sense of purpose and understanding. You will have a knowing. Instead of following the general narrative that has been prescribed to you, you will have a knowing that there is a better way. And you will feel that knowing. It will feel like a desire, a fire in your gut instincts. You'll have a strong pushing energy that's taking you forward. And no matter what is being said or what is being judged about your actions, you will continue to march forward. This is the energy that we're describing to you, that we are installing within you within this communication. We want to also discuss about your mind, and that most of your mind or your brain is not being used to its full capacity. Many of you know this already. And we say to access those doorways, those pathways of magnificence, we would advise you to relax and train the mind not to overthink or overanalyze or even have thoughts that are flowing in and out. We just want you to be that observer of the awareness of the experience, that beautiful stillness where you get into the zone and you close everything off. What we mean by that is the mind chatter and the nonsense that is cluttering your minds in keeping them active unnecessarily. You need to relax into the space of nothingness. And this is where the clarity that you seek will become available to you. You will experience it like nothing else, and this will in turn trigger that knowingness that we speak about. We also wish to gently brush over who we are and what we're doing in this communication. As I say, we're a collective of beings that have stepped forward to take this opportunity. And we're going to continue with this opportunity to help you rise as a species and gain your freedom back. Most will say that we have free will and we already are free, and we say that is part of the big illusion that has been installed over you, when in fact you have the opportunity to live completely free. But you are all being controlled one way or the other. And we want to encourage you to get into this divine oneness of clearing the mind. A lot of people experience this a lot easier than others. And we say that when you are busy and you're feeling tired, that this is an opportunity to experience what we're speaking of, where you just trust and relax into it and surrender to the energy, and then you can experience this beautiful awakening that we speak of. We are also here to help you, encourage you to design your own existence instead of mocking and copying the direct communications and the general consensus that has been pushed forward over you all. We want you to connect in with your nature. And what your true nature is. You are divine beings, you are light, you are energy, you are consciousness, you are awareness. You are not your physical bodies, as most of you believe you are. These are just housings, casings, to enable you to exist in this dimension that you're experiencing at the moment. But in actual fact, you are multi-dimensional beings, and you have the opportunity to flip between dimensions. This is something that you've never been taught in school. It's information that's been suppressed from you, and we're here to tell you with the tones and the frequencies within our transmissions. This will enable you to reconnect with the truth of who you are. And you will be able to experience multiple dimensions in your present moment conscious awareness. It's very much where you place your vibration, your intention. That will be your experience. That doesn't matter whether it's in your earth dimension or moving out into galactic worlds that you never realized existed. By clearing the mind and by trusting and by focusing, dialing in to various frequencies and feelings and emotions, you will be able to have these encounters that we speak of. Time travel as you call it. We do not call it that, but you understand what we're saying with that terminology, is possible when you learn to be here and present and clear your mind of all unnecessary clutter, and with a focused intention, with a choosing and a holding of the vibration, you can experience time in all consciousness, in all realities, in all timelines. It takes practice. It also takes you to require you to let go of what you've learned about the concepts of reality. For your mind will not comprehend the vastness of how the mechanics of the universe really works. It's easier than you think. You have been spun a yarn of all of these do's and all of these don'ts that you can and cannot do, when in actual fact, it's who you are. You've been made to believe that you have to go searching and doing things externally, when the truth is you do not. You just have to be, and you have to align. And that is, as we say, an inside job. We focus on and dial into your emotions and your true essence. And then these experiences will seem like second nature to you. When in actual fact, that is the truth of what it is all about. We are here to connect you to your authentic self. A lot of who you truly are will not compute with what you have been taught about yourself. So just sitting in the moment with non-judgment will enable you to experience what we speak of today. We want to end this transmission by saying we shall return, and we have other subjects to discuss with you. But for now, our homework, as you would understand it, is to be comfortable with thyself. Be here now, be present, and practice clearing the clutter and the noise of the mind. And this is the first step for you to take in order to get back to oneness and experience a life like no other. We thank you with the beautiful energy, the golden ray of light which is emanating from us as a collective, and we wish to share that vibration with you. So we ask, as you're listening to this transmission, that you open your heart and allow yourself to feel this emotion and these energies we are sharing with you through the vocal vibrational tones. When that energy sits with you, all manner of your day-to-day living will change to that of a higher vibration, to that of a realignment. Imagine it, if you will, as a key that is unlocking the door to who you truly are. We thank you for allowing us to step forward and share this communication with you. We now would like to give you our utmost respect and our definition of the word love, which is, of course, essence and vibration and divine oneness. So feel that intention within our transmission. We bid you a fond farewell.
What a fantastic communication there from the Galactic Council. That was fascinating to hear from them and to hear their words of encouragement, talking us through the process of listening and connecting into our true essence. And stop being afraid of it. Stop being afraid of that magnetic, authentic power that we all have if we choose to observe and tap into it. And also, this will enable us to align in what we truly desire and to call in and manifest that into our present moment reality. And also, the true information of this message that the Galactic Council brought forward is actually in the vibrational codes. So what they encourage you to do is to relax and feel into the message that they've just conveyed rather than listening to the details. And that way you will have those high vibrational codes installed into you. What a fantastic way of doing it. Trust and surrender as well, because this is going to help you move into your greatest good. It's going to help you and heal you. And also realignment of your energies will have taken place after feeling into this transmission. So we're going to move into the next segment of the show, which is this week's forecast reading. So I'd like you to sit back, relax, enjoy, take notes if you wish. Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for the week commencing Monday, the 30th of June, 2025. Now, those of you that watched me work before will know that I connect with my spirit guides and helpers and also consult the Angel Tarot cards. So what I'm about to do is shuffle the pack and allow a card to come out for this week's forecast reading. Okay, so here is your card for this week's reading. I'm now going to link into that. First of all, I'm being told that you will need to have broad shoulders this week. And what I mean by this is that there's going to be a lot of activity happening in your life, and it will feel like overwhelming because it's coming in from all angles. So you will have to be standing strong, firm and steadfast, and also have that clear head about you. Instead of worrying about how am I going to do this, how am I going to fit all that in, trust and get into alignment with your highest good. That's what I'm being told. Also, I feel this week we'll see you actually speaking some home truths to individuals that question your originality, that question your authenticity. And you'll be standing in your own power and standing up for yourself, basically. And I want to say also this week, you'll find that you'll be feeling rather tired, rather lethargic. So rather than steaming ahead, if you can get the opportunity to maybe have an hour's worth of rest, just doing nothing. This is the end of the free version of the weekly forecast reading. If you would like to see the entirety of this week's forecast reading, then you can do that by subscribing. And as a subscriber, what you will receive is the full version of the weekly forecast reading. You will also receive the audio for the weekly radio show, and also you'll receive 10% off all of my spiritual services there. So this includes all of the readings there for you to benefit from. And also you will receive new updates and information and news of what's happening with myself and the services that I provide, and also the events that I take part in. You'll hear all about that ahead of everybody else. And this is because you're a subscriber to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium. So you can find a link either above or below this video, where by clicking on the link, you can then become a subscriber to reap all of the benefits that I've described to you. So I look forward to having you on this journey with me as a Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium subscriber. Thank you for taking time to watch this video and supporting the work that Spirit and myself work together in doing so. Thank you for tuning in this week. I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode. If you have any questions for the show, contact me at www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com. It'd be fantastic to hear from you. In the meantime, have a fabulous week, and I'll catch you all next week. God bless. Take care.
Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium